Maulidi Aisyah. I am the first speaker for Group 6, and now I will talk about assessing reading. As we know, reading is the most essential skill for success in all educational contexts. Women a skill of paramount importance as we create the type of reading. The first one is academic reading. Next is personal reading, like newspaper, magazine, recitation. Before we jump into the main material, I want to give you strategies for readings. The first one is identify the purpose in a reading text. Second, use lexical analysis like prefixes, roots, suffixes to determine the meaning. Guess the meaning of words, idioms. 4. Skim the text for main idea. 5. Scan the text for specific information like names, date, and data. 6. Use it silent reading because you need concentration. 7. Use notes or outlines for understanding information. And the last, capitalize information to process relationship in a text. I think that's all from me.
And now, let's move to the next topic about the types of reading. In the types of reading, it is divided into 4 types of reading assessment. The first one is perspective reading assessment, the second one is selective reading assessment, the third one is interactive reading assessment, and the last one, the extensive reading assessment. In perceptive reading tasks, they usually using the assessment formats. Perceptive reading tasks involve attending to the components of larger stretches of discourse, like letters, words, punctuations, and other grammatical symbols. Moving to selective reading assessment, this category is largely an artifact of assessment formats. In order to ascertain one's reading recognitions of lexical, grammatical, or discourse features of language within a very short stretch of language, a certain typical tasks are used, like picture cued, task, matching, true or false, multiple choice, and etc. These stimuli include sentences, brief paragraphs, and simple charts and graphs. Brief responses are intended as well. The next one is interactive reading assessment. Interactive reading types are stretches of language of several paragraphs to one page or more in which the reader must, in psycholinguistic sense, interact with the text. Reading is a process of negotiating meaning. Typical genres that lend themselves to interactive reading are anecdotes, short narratives and descriptions, excerpts from longer texts, questionnaires, memos, announcements, directions, and other. The text of moderately short length with objective of retaining the information that is received. And now, the extensive reading assessment. Extensive reading applies to text of more than a page, up to and including professional articles, essays, technical reports, short stories, and books. The purposes of assessment usually are to tap into a learner's global understanding of a text, opposed to asking test takers to zoom in on small details. The top-down processing is highly recommended.
My name is Apriani, so I will today deliver designing segment task in perspective reading task and selective reading task. The first is perspective reading task. There are some of the possible text and word text that discovered without aspect of reading ability. The first one is multiple choice for sentence period written by the same stimuli are presented and the editing first task is to reproduce the picture in right class and the first step of the test the first response must be okay. The first is multiple choice or is multiple choice. This is the example of the reading choice. The example is circle the answer that are considered or have the example in written that are asked the same or different from the trace of alphabet as and just them to set objective being size. The assessment is you just see the picture and match the existing words. The assessment is an activity that consisting of process selecting reading for a specific activity. The process of reading is editing the designer focus on the formal aspect of language. The assessment is editing grammatical or rhetorical errors to assess linguistic competence then reading. Okay, the first is multiple choice or from written down. A form of objective assessment in which respondents are asked to select only correct answer from the list of alphabet as a list and adjust them to select the objective being assessed. The second is matching test. The assessment is An objective test consisting of two sets of items to be matched with each other for a specific attribute. The third is editing test. The assessment is editing grammatical or rhetorical errors to assess linguistic competence in reading. The fourth, picture field task. In this level, a picture or a series of pictures is used as a stimulus for a longer story or description. The objective of eliciting narrative discourse needs to be clear. And the last, gap filling task. Test taker both read and write of this test to fill simple gaps by writing a word or phrase. You must make some judgment about what constitutes the correct response. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hilmita Mubarokso. I will deliver designing assessment tasks in interactive and extensive reading tasks. The first one is interactive reading tasks. So there are 7 designing tasks in interactive reading. So the first one is close task. This is the example of this task. And there are 2 assessments for this task. The first one is the example method, and the second one is the appropriate word scoring. And the second one is impromptu reading plus comprehension question. To construct your assessment, you will include in your assessment procedure how you will frame question and how much weight you will give each item in scoring. And this is the example of this task. And the third is short answer task. This is the example of this task. And short answer assessment require you to write brief responses to question in your own words. Short answer question may be about a topic or they may be about a case of study. And the fourth is editing or longer task is contextualized grammar editing task. This is the example of this task. And the fifth is scanning. For assessing this task is carried out by presenting test takers with a test and requiring rapid identification of relevant bits of information. And the sixth is ordering task. This is the example of this task. And for assessing this task, if you are willing to place this procedure in the category of informal or informative assessment, you may consider the techniques useful. And the last one is information transfers, reading charts, maps, graphic, and diagram. And for assessing this task, assessment of these abilities covers a broad spectrum of tasks, and this is the example of this task. So the next is extensive reading tasks. So there are 3 designing assessment tasks in extensive reading, such as the first one is skimming task. This is the example of this task. And the second one is summarizing and responding. For assessing this task, we have to fit the criteria for assessing a summary, such as expresses accurately and the main and supporting ideas. The next is written in the student's own words. Occasional vocabulary from the original text is acceptable, is logically organized. And the last one is displays facility in the use of language to clearly express ideas in text. This is a holistic scoring, summarizing, and responding to reading. And the last one is note-taking and outlining. So the assessment for this task is informal assessment.
Hello, my name is Zainal Akli, and I'll talk about the scoring. And the scoring will be about the cloze test and multiple choice. The first one will be the cloze test. The scoring in cloze test is common empirical comprehension task. It works as follows. The score is the percentage of correctly guessed words, and because you're testing comprehension rather than spelling skills, synonyms are loud and spelling are also loud. And to get the score, you need to first count the number of correctly guessed answer and the incorrect answer, and after that, calculate the number of correctly guessed answer or guessed words into a percentage, and that percentage will be your score in for cloze test. And then the next one will be for the multiple choice. The multiple choice test has been scored using conventional number rights. The scoring methods is correct answer are scored with positive value, incorrect answer and absent or omitted answer with a value of 0, and the sum of the score for the correct responses or answer is the test score for the multiple choice.
As a conclusion, so in reading research, that reading assessment is very important to be carried out, namely to monitor the process, progress and learning outcomes received by the student, as well as reference material in evaluating the English reading skill. And reading itself is very important service important of teaching reading skill skills, reading strategies, type of reading performance, and how to design reading assessment. In implementing the reading assessment, the teacher conduct an assessment for what has been planned and analyzes the quality of the instrument used in the reading assessment.